Hello everyone, Kent Bressler here. I want to welcome you to Kent's Kidney Stories. During our time together over these podcasts, I'd like to discuss kidney disease. I'd like to tell you about my journey as a transplant patient, but also talk about dialysis, kidney donation, and just about anything else that might be of interest. Kent's Kidney Stories, podcast endorsed and sponsored by kidneysolutions.org.
Hello everyone, this is Kent Bressler from Kidney Solutions. Really was wanting to do a podcast today, and when I decided who it was going to be with, I realized how much fun it was going to be. I'll be talking with Finn Israel, a really good friend. Met him through his mother in the kidney space. And after we say our prayer, we're going to go ahead and start with this formidable, I think, really great podcast that's coming up. Heavenly Father, holding on to resentment can weigh heavily on our hearts. Our prayer is for the strength to release these feelings and let go of past hurts. Grant us the grace to forgive those who have wronged us, freeing our hearts from bitterness. And thank you so much for the healing power of forgiveness, which brings liberation and peace to all of us. We ask all of this in your holy name. Dear Father, amen. Okay, so it's been, to say the least, a horrible, nightmarish 3 weeks in the hill country. On July 4th, a wall of water 29 feet high swept down the Guadalupe River in central Texas, killing over 100 people. There are still people missing, 3 to be exact, and the major flooding took our parts of a group of girls' camps, their summer camps, and there were 27 of those children who died. 2 of yet are still missing and not to be found. There are no words to explain this phenomenon other than grief and misery for all of those who've suffered a loss, whether they be a child or an adult. The response to the rescue and the recovery has been tremendous nationwide, and for that our community is very grateful. To my best guesstimate, a timely prayer from y'all for those who lost everything and for those who've suffered would be of great importance not only to me, but to this wonderful community. I thank you in advance for your prayers. Okay, humbling and experience, but we're going to move on to business right away because I have a very dear friend. His name is Finn Israel, and Finn's looking for a kidney. Believe it or not, on Ken's Kidney Stories, we're looking for someone that would be willing to step up and become a donor for Finn. Finn has Atypical Uremic Syndrome. He'll explain that in just a second, but I just wanted to tell you how much I've enjoyed working with his mother, Michelle. They live in California, and when I first met Finn, he was living in Hawaii, of all things. Poor guy. And now he's in working with a great organization called Square Knot, along with his mom. I know Square Knot very well, as I do his mother and several of the people who are involved at Square Knot. So, Finn, welcome. What a great thing to have you come in. You look great, my friend.
Thank you, as do you.
Tell me, what's the most important thing to you in your life right now? I'm just gonna straight up ask you the hard question. What's the most important thing for you?
That's quite the start. You know what? I'm gonna say my support people. I think for now, at this point in my life, that's probably the most important thing.
Okay.
Having my friends and family around me that actually care and are willing to help me out as I need it.
Well, I know your 3 sisters. I also know your dad. And I want you to tell the story about your current condition being that
Sure.
what because it's convoluted and it's difficult to understand, but there are things that people need to know about you before they decide to call in and become your kidney donor. So
Gotcha.
give me a little background on your health history kidney wise.
Sure. Let's see if I can keep this brief enough. Back in 2020, right before COVID hit everyone, my mother was in the training stages of becoming a registered nurse and was practicing taking blood pressures at our house and was going through her whole family, testing them out, and then took mine and realized it was crazy elevated for a young adult who was pretty healthy and active. Um, so, of course, we wanted to get that checked out and some blood tests and then further tests later. And finally, with an ultrasound of my kidneys, they discovered that they were both around 50% just shredded on the microscopic level. So obviously that's not normal. And I already had pretty diminished kidney function at that time. I just didn't know it. I was completely asymptomatic. And then after that, with further tests and biopsies, that led to the diagnosis of atypical hemolytic uremic syndrome, or as I'll probably refer to it from now on, it's just atypical HUS.
Okay.
And since then, I have been getting treatments for it, which is really a lifelong treatment. There's no cure to it. And after we discovered that, went through a few more years of college without having to do a whole lot. And then I had to start my infusions as my treatment, which is every 8 weeks. So that alone is quite the process when you're living in Hawaii.
Oh, I'll bet it was. Yeah, every 2 months you had to get
Correct.
wired up.
Yep. So every 2 months you got to do that, and we were just making it work. I had some really great doctors to help prescribe the medication, and then you had to get a courier to bring it out to my house out in the middle of the jungle. Some guy would just show up in his old truck, drop off some boxes, and then a nurse would show up the next day to do the infusion. So we made it work, kept me alive. So I'm grateful for that. And since then, I've graduated, moved home to California. Luckily, as about a year after I started infusions, maybe 2 years, I had just a rapid decline in my kidney function.
Yes.
I had to go on to dialysis.
Yeah.
So yeah, needless to say, that was not a great experience. It was not a planned start. It was an unplanned crash into dialysis. So emergency rooms, going up to Stanford, and had to get a peritoneal catheter placed to do an emergent start. So that was a pretty crazy 2 weeks of my life. But since then, I have kind of become a little bit more stable and just doing dialysis every night as we search for a kidney donor.
At one point in time, I remember you being at 30. Your EGFR was at 30. It's pretty stable, and you were working very well with that. But then again, something triggered a response that led to, like you said, your kidney damage and your march toward renal failure. I don't think that's anything on you. I think that's more of the process. Do you not believe that? Is this not a personal thing that you could have stopped? It's something that was coming, and it got here.
I fully agree with that. Yeah. I mean,
okay.
I'm very strict about what I eat and how I take care of my body. I try to be the healthiest person I know. And it quite literally happened in the span of 2 or 3 days. My GFR dropped to, I think it's about a 9 right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I had some weird swelling behind my corneas in my eyes.
Oh, really?
So I
Okay.
lost most of my vision. I couldn't drive. Legally blind, my vision went from like close to 20/20 to 2300. So it became very bad. And it was like that for about 8 months or so before I found a doctor that could help me out and make some specialty lenses.
Did you, at any point in time during this, I call it the early stages of your illness, okay,
Hmm.
before you really had this episode, did anybody ever talk to you or say the words focal segmental glomerulosclerosis, FSGS?
Yes.
And that's a same disease process that I have, that I've had for over 50 years, okay? And I just wanted to bring that in because it seems like kidney disease as it is, as we speak to it, it's always multifactorial. It's not just like one thing other than if you're diabetic and your kidneys just fail.
Right.
But these genetic or these primary or secondary rare kidney diseases crop up, and you had a rare disease on top of a rare kidney disease. I think that's
Hmm.
significant for people to know. All right, this isn't a real, oh gee whiz, why didn't you go to the doctor? Why weren't you doing that? Well, it's not that way. It doesn't work
Hmm.
that way. If that was, we'd have a cure for this. All right, we would. There would be a cure for FSGS and your condition with your urinary tract, your atypical uremic issues.
Right.
My point being is that I want you to be very confident, and I want the public to know how confident you have been that everything that was going to happen to you was going to happen and it was going to be okay because you were under
Hmm.
good care. You didn't bolt from it. You didn't leave it. You didn't forget about it. You grabbed every opportunity you had to reach out and get help, and for that, I do applaud you. I just had to tell you that
Thank
because
you.
yeah, and I want you to know that that's going to continue. All right, regardless of what's done or what happens, you're on the right path. You're in the right space, especially when you have access to Dr. Heher. Okay.
Right.
and, and I think that's a wonderful thing for you people to know that this is we're gonna beat this thing. We're not gonna cure it, but we're gonna give you a long life. That's the hope of this whole thing, and I believe that's what you think.
Absolutely. I'm too stubborn to think otherwise.
Yeah, so it does take a certain amount of vibrant activity. All right, what kind of things are you doing to maintain your health?
Quite the variety, to be perfectly honest. There's a lot of things I would typically be doing that I can't do, such as anything water sports related. I normally would love to go kayaking, free diving, surfing, everything ocean related, but that's kind of been put on hold. So now I'm really leaning into hiking because I'm very fortunate to live in a beautiful area that has great hiking. I cook a lot, just whatever I'm feeling, I'm gonna figure out how to cook that. Um, I like to hang out with my friends when I can, and otherwise, I just try to stay busy with work and keeping my life organized and trying to be productive.
There are a lot of people on PD dialysis, regardless of their conditions, and of course, it's all kidney related. What have you done since you've been on this particular journey? What have you done to make it easier on yourself doing dialysis? Of course, we know we want to get off dialysis as soon as we can. That's just
Of course.
right. Period. I mean, let's be honest. No one wants to be there, and you're
Oh,
there, and you want off, right?
correct.
Okay. So what do you do to mitigate all the negativeness of dialysis?
Just have think thoughts of burning the dialysis machine and things like that.
Yeah.
Nah, honestly, just being outside as much as possible, and it just kind of separates that aspect of your life from the joys of life. Because if you're constantly inside around dialysis stuff or just focusing on that, then it just consumes you. And there's nothing fun about that. No one wants to be thinking about, oh, do I need to order more dialysis equipment right now? Or when's my next clinic appointment? It'll just take over your life if you let it. So I find it very helpful just to keep trying new things experience new hobbies, pursue other things, and really just try to do things that take up your time that are not always health related.
We
It's
call that
really helped
living.
me a lot. Yeah,
We call
exactly.
that
Live
living,
life.
right? Huh? Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
just
it's not an enjoyment of life. It's actually living. I mean,
right,
it's like your major goal, though, as we keep saying, the major goal is to get a transplant, and
right.
that's essential for what we're doing this podcast. At one point in time, to know that your father was going to be your donor, and he was and tell us that story. I think that's
Sure.
important.
Yeah, so my parents, of course, being fantastic parents that they are, both wanted to be my donors. And my mom was ruled out because of a genetic abnormality, likely one that I inherited that's caused a lot of this. But they found that in the tests and said, there's no way, it's not worth the risk of you donating. It could
Sure.
trigger something similar to what I have. So she was ruled out. And then my father was then leading donor. He'd gone through all the tests. He'd done one biopsy already um, on his lungs because they thought they'd seen something. And then the results were fine. So they pursued it further. And we even got a couple offers of potential donors, which both fell through due to various reasons. But we were basically all the way done, just ready to do transplant, book a place up next to Stanford for recovery. And then we got a call that they wanted to do another biopsy of his lungs just to double check some things. And so this time they went up to Stanford instead of doing it locally and found that he had stage 4 cancer in his lungs, which we were kind of just blown away by. Like,
Oh gosh, what a
setbacks after setbacks. And then you find out that your lead donor, who's also your father, has stage 4 cancer, which so metastatic as well. So obviously we're just kind of reeling from that. And like, all right, well, that takes priority right now. We need to deal with that. So they started doing that while I started looking for new donors and making flyers. And since then, we have all been able to catch our breath. It's, pretty much as far as cancer goes, best case scenario. Granted, cancer is cancer.
cancer's cancer. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's still dealing with that, but he's getting his treatments. And like I said, we're just able to calm down a little bit as we regroup.
Well, it doesn't. It's very hard to explain to people when they're considering donation of kidney, because I really honestly believe it's a spiritual thing. I don't believe it's this just a happenstance. I believe it comes internally through a pretty deep faith that you want to do that. But a lot of the times, things like this happen where the donor goes in and is being tested and they find things like this.
Right.
And essentially, and I guess you can call it a blessing in a way, but the whole point is that the routine for a donor, like for your next donor, for somebody who's going to step up and be your donor, they get a very thorough exam and testing, and they're never going to take an organ from a living donor that would jeopardize their life. It's not going to happen.
Right.
They're not going to jeopardize someone's life to, give that kidney to you. It's not going to happen. All right. They do very, very conscientious of that. And that's why I think that it's hard to find donors now. It's harder and harder and harder to find donors in the living space because it is so demanding. You have to be tip-top shape. And let's look at the country. Our country is not in tip-top shape. So it's a very difficult. So people who listen to this, I want them to realize that they'll get the best, and there's really no difference between that and routine physical, except you get the max. You don't just get a piece by piece. It's a max physical.
It is
The
$1
best
million
physical.
exam.
Exactly. And it doesn't cost you a cent, right? It doesn't cost the donor a cent And if they go ahead and give a kidney, it's going to give them some downtime. Yeah, I understand that. There are complications with it. We understand that. All those things can be discussed with it. And, like if we're fortunate enough to catch a donor for you through Kidney Solutions, we have people that are going to mentor those who are donors, and we're going to explain this to them, and we'll have them all the time. All right. We'll have them cornered, if you will. And we're there for them 24/7. They have issues, they have questions, or they get cold feet, or if they start sneezing and they don't know if they're going to be able to do it, we're there for them. That's what Kidney Solutions does. We're a mentoring organization, and we're glad to have you with our family. Plus, you're also a square knot. And my goodness, it's a wonderful thing. You're covered. All right. That donor's out there, buddy. That donor's out there.
Definitely.
And that's the reason why I wanted to do this podcast with you. Okay, so much for the advertising for Kidney Solutions. Let me I know you have sisters, all right? And how are they, and your mom, how are they holding up to this whole thing?
Pretty impressively well.
Okay.
They've all chosen to take it in stride and not let it affect them. And they're just continuing on their lives because they know that's pretty much the only option right now.
That's what you would want them to do, is it not?
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, there's no animosity here. This is a loving family. I cannot believe the love that's generated within this family, and that's what it's going to take for you to find a donor.
It's true. Yeah, we've been pretty blessed with the support, and as soon as I put my first flyer out, I was almost amazed at the amount of people that said we would love to donate. It was mind-blowing. And I know a lot of people have gone through a good chunk of the process already. And just to attest to the thoroughness of the testing, some of the people were ruled out because they were found to be pre-diabetic and their GFR had already dropped to 55, 60.
Right.
And they had no idea.
Yeah, that's the point. That's exactly the point of the gift of it.
Mm-hmm.
And when we get calls, we get to work with them. That's what's so nice, that these people really want to do it. And then we have some services too that would help them if they, like are a little overweight or having blood pressure issues. Mm-hmm. We work really closely with an organization that Josie Meyer has. It's called Project Donor, and it's totally free to help people who have been rejected as donors and try to get them into a lifestyle that would make them donors. Maybe not for an individual, but down the road they could still do it. They could be, a direct or indirect donor. So those kinds of things are, and you don't get that directly from the transplant programs. You get that a lot from organizations like Kidney Solutions. And we're very, very, very mindful of what Square Knot does. And we're very mindful just of the fact that there are a lot of things out there that are going on, but the more coverage you get, the more access you have to the world, the better off you are finding a donor. So
definitely.
I tell you, this may sound like this is short and sweet. Do you have anything else that you would like to say about looking for a donor, or do you have any requests that you would like to make?
I mean, preferably, I'm looking for a grass-fed, non-GMO sort of kidney, but I guess I'm open to all offers. No, but I just want to say thank you to you, Ken, for all that you do. I know I'm not the only one that you've helped by any means. So even with everything going on in your area, you still take the time to do all this. So just know that from everyone that you've affected, we're all very grateful.
Oh, golly. Now my face is red. Thank you. We're just doing this audio, not video. Listen, this whole concept, and I want you to take this with you. I do this with everyone. There's a hope that springs eternally. And we know that, right? And if you give up on the thought that hope is not in your genre, then you need to refocus. Fear for nothing, because it's all going to work out. It's got to. It's going to work out for you. And you're young, and that person that's going to step forward is out there, maybe listening to this podcast, maybe the guy that you run into in the grocery store. But I ask everyone that's listening to pass this on. You know, if you want to donate, if you have the desire to ask about or to facilitate becoming a donor, give us a call at Kidney Solutions, or go to kidneysolutions.org. And when you go there, just join and say you want to become a donor. There's no strings attached to this. Everything that we do is free, and I mean that. You know, they say, well, oh, yeah, free. Well, it is free. There will be no billing. We're not going to bill Medicare. We're not billing you. This is a free, gratis production by a bunch of volunteers who've either been transplanted or have donated. That's what we do. We're mentors. And we're going to stay with you as long as we can, as hard as we can, until you get transplanted. And then we're going to follow you afterwards. All right? We're going to stay with you afterwards, which is very important because we want you to be able to keep this kidney that's coming. All right?
As do I.
Okay. All right. I'm going to turn this off. And I'm going to do it hesitantly. I could talk to you all day, but I think this is important to realize that you're not a busy man. You're more than busy. You're busy looking for a donor. KidneySolutions.org. If you see a flyer out there with Finn's name on it, give us a call. I'll give you my personal phone number if you want it. 830-285-2140. That's 830-285-2140. That's just a call to discuss the possibility of becoming Finn's donor. And if you really have the wherewithal to do it, we'll help you through it, and we'll stay with you as long as you are around, or as long as we're around. So I think that's about as good as we can do today, and we may have Finn and his mom back. I want to talk to his mom at some point in time.
I'm sure she'd love to.
I think that's what we're going to do, and we'll do it later on. Maybe she'll be 156 or something like that.
Okay.
And blessings to your father, all right? Don't forget about him. I mean, he's going to be okay. It's going to work.
Oh, yeah, he's a tough cookie.
Oh, yeah. The whole Finn family, the whole Israel family. Finn, you guys are miraculous. It gives me great joy just to even be able to talk to you. All right.
Well, thank you, Ken.
You're welcome. All right, here's what we're going to do, folks. I want you to remember one thing, that no matter what you're doing, and if you have kidney disease, we're the people to come and see, because we are mentors. We're not donor hunters. We're mentors. We stay with you throughout the duration of your journey. This journey's tough, right? It's really tough. I've been at it for almost 50 years with FSGS, and I can tell you, life goes on. I've had cancer in my kidney, in my transplanted kidney. I've had aneurysms. I have a stent put in my heart. All life goes on. But one thing for sure, it's a whole lot easier to go on with a transplant than it is be on dialysis. So think about that when you think about being a donor, not only for Finn or for someone. Think about it real hard, because if you do it, then all the gifts that you have would be multiplied. You will never regret giving a kidney. Never going to happen. All right, so enough said. Share this with people. The best kept secrets are not secrets. So don't do it. Be a donor. And for that, I'm going to say, keep breathing.